I think, just to eliminate about half the questions, do you still have that outfit, that perfect outfit with the little gold things and all that? Really, you keep that?
I do have that, yeah.
Why aren't you wearing it?
Why aren't you asking me if I still have the dress that I tore my top off?
Well, you broke that one.
I have it. No, that was all Velcro. I still have that piece, and there's somebody that has asked me for that dress, so I have to keep it. But all that stuff that was done, that was real leather and real brass, and the designer did Mad Max. So you can imagine why this turned out so great. It was uncomfortable as all hell. I mean, as stiff as it looked, that's how stiff it was, and it hurt all over the place.
I would wear that every day.
Well, Christopher and I actually did 5 movies together, so I'm so happy to see that he's still working. And I remember when he said he was leaving Hollywood, because he said, oh, you know, Sybil, in this beautiful English voice that he has, Hollywood only does movies for children. And then he goes to back to London, hoping that he could do something serious, and then now he's doing Alice in Wonderland. You know?
Do you have a favorite movie role?
Well, you know, you all probably haven't seen it before because it's quite serious, talking about serious. And I like it for that for the reason that I was just playing a very normal, actually kind of sadistic character, but a character that went down in history. And they just now did another movie about this story, the Baader Meinhof group, which was, you know, the German terrorists. And it was called Operation Thunderbolt, also brought out by MGM, where I played the German terrorist together with Klaus Kinski. That was I don't know if you remember, you're probably all way too young, but that was the raid on Entebbe. And I played the German terrorist that takes all the Israeli passengers hostage in the Air France airliner that was hijacked. And I like that because when I did it, you know, the director to me, who was Israeli, we shot it there in Israel, and all the airports were in Israel, and he said to me, he said, well, you can play her, but you know, you can't be sexy, you gotta, she wasn't beautiful. So I said, don't worry about it. So I got there and I wore all these baggy clothes and I wore a wig and no makeup, and we shot in December, it was cold, I was working with a terrible fever and sick, and I had pimples in my face from being sick, and the doctor shot me up with antibiotics every day, and we were nominated for Best Foreign Film. It's called Operation Thunderbolt.
But I noticed at the end there was a lot of credits to Czechoslovakia film board and stuff, and of course that particular country doesn't exist anymore. So I wonder what it's like being European and seeing the different rearrangements of the various nations, and remembering that you were in places that are now under other governments or other organizations. Do you have any contact with what it used to be, or how you feel about it?
You're asking, was it fun to make this movie?
Well, no, I got to tell you, there is a funny little story in that, because you're absolutely right. Now it is the Czech Republic. When we shot that movie, what was it, 86, 85? It was still behind the Iron Curtain. I mean, when we got there, it was really hard to go in, and they were watching us, and we shot that in a little village. We also did some shooting in Prague, which is a beautiful city. But I remember in the hotel where we stayed, the Americans, the few of us, Christopher and the few of us in the hotel, every night we would go down there and have dinner, and every night in the same corner, at the same table, was this little guy. He looked like he had a dead squirrel on his head, had these glasses on, and he was sitting there looking at us very sternly. We know he was KGB. He was, and he was looking out for us. I don't know, he probably got paid $1 a day or something like that, I don't know, but he was sitting there with his goulash, and he would sit there and he just watched us, and we knew exactly that was KGB, and it was so funny, but it was serious. It was, I mean, we were watched what we were doing there, and we shot under, you know, it was horrendous situations there. When we got, the funny thing too was when we got shipped, you know, we were like in Czechoslovakia, so Hollywood had cut us off, and they said, well, they'll go there and do their movie. When we got our outfits for the werewolves, they were outfits for apes. And you know, we had to shoot, and the director said, well, wait a minute, we're not doing Planet of the Apes here, we're doing a werewolf movie. They had sent, either they didn't have anything better for us, because we didn't have the same budget that Howling 1 had. And so we, you know, the people there just had to rework all those costumes so that they ended up looking what they looked like.
So those actually are modified ape suits?
Yeah, they were actually modified ape suits. Exactly.
Where apes?
You mentioned Operation Thunderbolt. You mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. What was the experience of making Hercules for Canon with Lou Ferrigno and Luigi Cozzi like?
Oh, you know what? I just came from, well, not directly, but New Year's Eve I spent at the Playboy Mansion, and ever since I did my layout in Playboy, I go up there all the time to all of Hef's parties, and Lou Ferrigno was there. And we see each other at parties. We haven't worked since then. You know, we did Hercules and 7 Magnificent Gladiators. It was great working with him. I actually sent him a script because I'm working on something that I can't talk about right now. It's going to be, it has some Italians in it, but I don't want to say too much because there's an important director reading it right now, and I don't want to jinx anything, but I just sent him a script a couple months ago and told him to look into it for a role because I think he'd be great for it.
We can show the trailer because you have a new project that you brought us a trailer for. Would now be a good time to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we all, I think, are going to say a little prayer for Patrick Swayze. I did a movie with him. This was just before he got ill. And I was in Europe promoting it. He couldn't be there. It hasn't come out in the United States yet, so you'll see a little trailer of it. It's he's wonderful in it. No, he doesn't take his shirt off. It's a serious movie. It's a drama. And but I think you're going to enjoy him in it. He's wonderful in it, and I didn't know, and no one knew at the time when we shot it that he was very, very ill. So, but he's okay again.
From American World Pictures, he was the most famous photographer of his generation.
Reach for the sky, Marilyn.
But his past would haunt him.
Don't worry, we'll make a man of you yet.
When a father-son outing.
I saw you last night with that waitress. Don't worry, I won't tell Mother. You don't deserve her. You're not man enough for her.
I'm twice the man you'll ever be.
Give me that thing!
Ends in tragedy.
Tell us what happened.
Philip Houseman, you're charged with the murder of Mordecai Houseman.
Their lives become a lightning rod.
While we starve, unemployed and miserable, these Jews amass fantastic riches.
I understand better than anyone how vital it is for your brother to have good representation. Both our reputations are at stake.
I think I'm being followed.
What exactly do you need to know?
You are being charged with murder. Do you understand that?
I can't do this.
Philip and his father spent the day here before their hike. This place is going mad. It is beyond the values of sane men.
You wanted me dead, didn't you?
The father was afraid of the son.
Did you kill your father?
I just know I'm innocent. Mother!
And beat his father to death with a rock, filled with conjecture. No further questions. It's too late.
You know nothing about me! See how easy it is to lose control?
Have you reached a verdict?
I must have my dignity.
Find the courage to do the right thing. Become heroes.
Patrick Swayze, Martine McCutcheon, Ben Silverstone, Sybil Danning, and Heinz Hernig star in Jump.